Very cute. So Molly's going to sit on my lap now. So one of the things I do for a friend is, I wonder when it actually went live, because now it says it's like 9 seconds in. And so did we miss Molly? Hello. Hi. It's Molly. Okay, so there's a dear friend of mine who is going through a rough time. And I also happen to be going through a fairly rough time. And so I don't have a ton of energy, but I also want her to feel like she's, on my mind and my heart, that, we're connected. And so what I did is I started including her in one of my morning routines, one of the things that I do most mornings. And lately that has been doing a reading from this book, Meditations for Women Who Do Too Much, by Anne Wilson Schaef. I think that's how you say it. It is a little daily reader for people who are in recovery from workaholism, which I definitely am a workaholic. So I'm going to get my phone real quick, and I'm going to start the voice recording, and then I'll turn it off right when we're done. Hello, good morning, dear. The reading today the theme is becoming acceptance. So becoming/acceptance is what it says. Quote, "The great thing about getting older is that you don't lose all the other ages you've been," by Madeline L. Ingle. Life is a process. We are a process. Everything that has happened in our lives has happened for a reason and is an integral part of our becoming. One of the challenges of our lives is to integrate the pieces of our lives as we live them. It is sometimes tempting to try to deny huge periods of our lives or forget significant events, especially if they have been painful. To try to erase our past is to rob ourselves of our own hard-earned wisdom. There is not a child or an adolescent within us. There is the child or adolescent who has grown into us. When we realize that among the most important strengths that we bring to our work are the life experiences we have had and the ages we have been, maybe we will not resent getting older. And the thought for the day: my wisdom emerges as I accept and integrate all that I have been and all that has happened to me. Wow, I'm getting hit really hard with that one. I think I'm going to write down for myself, my wisdom emerges as I accept and integrate all that I have been and all that has happened to me. And I will write it down so that I can repeat it to myself throughout the day. Because that feels extremely timely for me, and I imagine for you. So I hope you have a good day. I love you. Bye. Okay, so I've sent that. Holy shit, that's really... So when I first started this series in 2020, I changed the name. I think I started the series like meditations kind of based on this. And then I realized that, no, it's just like things to ponder for the day, or kind of inspirations or whatever. And yeah, I'm going to be pondering this one. Real good. Okay, so I'm going to take 3 deep breaths to try to reset. Okay, so what I'm also going to, I gotta put this down a little bit just so that I can at least see Molly's ears on the camera. um, so, um, yesterday I did a video on another YouTube channel that I am co-creating, called The Art of Processing. And as soon as I can remember to do it, I will link it below. But I'm talking in that video about how I have elected to go back, start a new pharmaceutical medication for anxiety. And I haven't used them in quite a few years. I have some videos on this channel where I talk about going off of the ones I was on. I believe it was in 2016 that I was weaning off of them. And I kind of really didn't ever want to go back on them after that. It's the whole experience of being on medication and going off medication and all the side effects at all the times. I kind of didn't want to mess with it again. But I've reached a point where it has been quite some time that I've been really struggling. And I found a doctor at a holistic care clinic. She's a naturopath and just really has a much broader perspective than any mental health professional I've ever worked with. Much broader range of modalities that she is trained in. And I mean, I've had a lot of emotion coming up, and it's just, there's a lot of reasons why it could be part of it. Is there's a feeling of disappointment at being at electing to be on medication, and I know that there's no reason to be disappointed. I know that I'm using it as a tool, which is what I've always agreed was a really good use for this kind of medication, is to use it as a tool for a temporary, and for myself, it feels best to plan to only use it temporarily. And what that means is that I will be, working on the foundational pieces of my routine that will help support me in such a way that I can consistently feel I can consistently feel stable enough that I can kind of rebuild a life. And so this is just to support me until I feel ready to let it go. So this is I've now taken it twice. It is day 2. Most medications don't work really quickly. So for the most part, I wouldn't expect to be noticing a difference yet. However, this one in particular, the reason I chose it is because it has a short half-life, and it isn't difficult to stop taking it, and it literally is fine to just stop taking. It's not like I have to wean off of it. So that's why I chose this one. Added bonus, it is sedating, and so I'm taking it at night, and it even though I've been sleeping okay lately, I think I slept even better the past couple of nights. And after day 1, I felt sedated until like 12:30. That was not cool at all. But I also have to take into account that the day before that had been a very emotionally exhausting day, and I had spent quite a bit of it in a state of overwhelm. And so that's also exhausting. So it may not have all been the medication. This morning, I felt much less groggy than the day before, and I woke up earlier. I woke up at 8:30, or I think it was 7:30. I think I woke up at 7:30 today, which is pretty normal. No, it was after 8. It was after 8. That's fine. Yesterday was 9:30, and that was like, what the hell? And I only have a little bit of the grogginess still, and I don't know what time it is right now. It's 10:48. So, and yesterday I had slightly less anxiety than I'm used to having. We'll see how today goes. The medication, is actually supposed to be like it has a half-life of 7 hours or something like that. So it's not like it's really strong in my system anymore. Maybe out completely at this point, but I'm going to just take it at night for now, and then see if I'd like to add an afternoon dose or a midday dose eventually. What else? I wrote a bunch of notes for myself, so I probably should read those at some point, where I had a brainstorm around, hey, it would be really smart to share this experience as I navigate it as best I can with as good of detail as I can remember, because I want it to be fresh enough in my memory that I can feel pretty confident that I haven't messed up the details too much, My memory is an interesting one. So another layer that I wanted to include in this kind of record keeping for myself, but I recognize I'm keeping my records in a way that allows other people to listen in. And so that's why I make these videos. I make them partially for myself, so I can talk about something that's on my mind without having to have someone else's ears to listen. But I know that there's a chance that there will be some ears that listen at some point. So it's all these different layers. Okay, so another piece that I'm navigating is the actual system of mental health, and within the context of a state health plan, because I am on Oregon health plan. I'm super grateful for it, and I don't want it ever to sound like I am not grateful, because I am. But I'm also super fucking pissed that the health, it's so fucking difficult to navigate. So here's a case in point. It took my doctor and I 6 sessions, I think, at least, and a lot of paperwork and a lot of other, communication for us to arrive at a decision as to what medication I would try first. And so I left her office. It was over a week ago now. It was like just over a week ago. I left her office, and I'm like, okay, great. She's called in the prescription. I'm going to go check in with the pharmacy as soon as I get to the grocery store, and then I do my shopping and wait for it. I can try it tonight. That'll be great. What a relief. Finally making some progress. I get to the pharmacy, and I let them know, to look for this, and that I'd like to pick it up within half an hour. And they're like, so sorry, requires prior authorization. What does that mean? Well, that means the insurance company won't pay for it until they have prior authorization. Okay, I don't understand what that means, but fine. I'll call my doctor's office. So basically what it means is the doctor has to ask the insurance company first, hey, can I prescribe this medication that I consider to be beneficial for my patient, and my patient agrees that she would like to take it, and I've done all the education, and we've done all the, can I please give this to my patient, is essentially what the fuck that means. And it doesn't happen right away. And so I did my due diligence. I contacted the doctor's office. She said, okay, we'll take care of it. Um, I wish at that point I would have asked, like, how long does it normally take? Um, but that they're stopped. I can't get the medication that day. I can't, and so I'm okay. I guess I'll just be patient. And I wait, and a couple of business days pass, and I don't hear anything. Um, and then it was a weekend, so it's a few more days, and I know nothing's going to happen. And then another business day, I don't hear anything. So I finally contact the doctor's office again. I'm like, hey, what's the status? Um, and they say, oh, this usually only takes, and I asked, how long does this normally take? And they said, well, usually it's within a day. But, it looks like everything's in order. Um, So finally, yeah, a week later, I went back to the pharmacy and I said, please look this up. Can you please fill this? And they said, it's requiring a prior authorization. I said, Nope, that should all be done. What is the next step if that's not actually, hasn't come through yet? Because my doctor's office said they did it earlier this week. They're like, oh, wait, here it is. Yes, here's the prior authorization. You're all good. We'll get it filled for you. And it feels like it's that at least that difficult every single time that I start any sort of new medication, with few exceptions. So that's really frustrating, um, to have that experience every time that there's or not every time, but frequently, when my doctor and I come to an agreement that something is medically necessary, that the insurance company says, oh, we're not so sure it's medically necessary yet. Why don't you ask real nicely? And then we'll decide if it's medically necessary or if we're going to make you fight for it. So, yeah, so that's the current experience with OHP. So good. I'm getting the medication. Awesome. Hopefully, they don't do something like pull it away from me like they do with the my ADHD medication, which again, medical professional and I came to an agreement about whether or not that would be beneficial for me. And my insurance OHP says grown-ups or adults over 18 don't have ADHD. So we'll let you have it for 3 months. We'll pay for the medication for 3 months a year, maybe, if we feel like it. So the past several years, or has it been 2 years now, I think? For the past several years, I will get as many prescriptions filled through OHP as I can. And then when they stop paying for it, I have my doctor call the prescription into Costco, because I can get it. At least last year, I was able to get it for about $45 per month at Costco. I don't know if that's gone up this year, but and it was over $100 or $400 at Fred Meyer. I don't remember. It was a lot to buy cash. So, yeah. So at any point, I think I probably got my last. I don't know. I don't know when they'll stop paying for it, but at some point they'll stop paying this year, and I'll have to go back to Costco, just because grown-ups don't have ADHD. Grown-ups don't need medication for ADHD, according to OHP. They don't think that that's a thing. Damn it. At least this is a bonus to the pandemic. Before the pandemic, if you got a prescription for a controlled substance like Adderall is, then you had to have a piece of paper that had the prescription on it, and you would have to go to the pharmacy with that piece of paper, and then they would take that piece of paper and then they would fill it. And if you lose that piece of paper, then you have to go back to the doctor and say, I'm sorry, I lost it. Can you write another one for me? And the doctor's going to be really upset, because now they don't know for sure if someone else is going to take that prescription in and try and fill it. Sometimes the doctor won't even refill it. They'll be like, sorry, you're out of luck, kid, for a month. I can't give you another prescription because you might have just gotten that filled and then sold them all or something. No, for real, I just lost the piece of paper. And so that was a nightmare over and over again, pre-pandemic. post-pandemic is the doctor can now call it in and do it digitally. Now they're able to receive those digitally, but they don't always work, and so it still sometimes requires multiple calls back and forth to the pharmacy, the doctor's office, pharmacy, and doctor's office to try and make sure that it goes through. If you are a person with ADHD and who takes Adderall, you know that if you can't, like, it's fucking crazy making that the process to get the medicine that helps you like do processes. The process is so fucking complicated and crazy making for even like a completely neurotypical person that often, like, my daughter sometimes will just go without the medication for a while because she's like, I can't deal with the process of fucking getting the medication. So it's oh, it's so annoying. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Oh my God, you were just the cutest. I wish so much that she, oh wait, maybe she is showing up on camera a little bit. Yeah. So all that as examples of how I am attempting to make a better practice of share my real life experience with the state health system, with choosing pharmaceutical medication for mental health issues, and even I'll talk about my experience of ADHD and that medication, and just like navigating all of that. I could layer in so many other layers, like how difficult the medical system itself, like finding doctors and finding the right doctor, and how many steps it takes to go through to find that. But that feels too big. I don't feel like dealing with that one yet. Anyhow, I think that's all I want to do. I keep remembering I have a video editor so that I can just like send him videos, but then also it's extra steps that I don't have the capacity for quite in this moment. So I think it's better for me to stop and make new videos instead. All right. Do you feel done, Molly? I feel done. Yes, I feel done. I wish you'd get off of that thing so that we can just cuddle. Yeah, that's what I wish. Okay. Well, thank you for being on the receiving end. Anyone who perhaps ever happens to watch this. Eventually, I think what I'll do is I'll cut it up into pieces. I'll have my video editor do that and re-release it as short videos that are just like one topic. So that's how I like to use these. All right. Well, thank you again for being on the receiving end, and I hope you create yourself a fuck-yes day, because I know I will the best I can from your crazy town.